YouTube, it's Awakening. Say something. I'm back. Before we get to it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and you always watch the full video.
These two content creators likely won't be making a funny TikTok anytime soon. Both are locked up, charged with murder. But now one of the suspects is claiming there's a reason he gunned down a military vet outside a busy Houston mall. But will a jury possibly see it the same way? Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth.
A military person, bro, you gunned him down, nigga. Ain't no respect for that, bro.
Down in a parking garage outside the Houston Galleria Mall. Now, two suspects are in custody, including maybe a familiar face to some, a TikTok creator with tens of thousands of followers. On June 3rd, Justin Guzman and his buddy Marco Sinan went to the Houston Galleria to do what content creators do, shoot content. It was Justin, Marco, and another man whose name hasn't been publicly released. So those three make their way onto the elevator, and there was someone else riding on that elevator too, a woman who had just gotten off of work. Now, one of the men reportedly asked the woman a question, but she didn't answer. And instead of just letting it go, one of them allegedly called her a stupid, ugly B-word. The woman told her fiancé, Anthony Sanders, what happened in the elevator. So he reportedly went driving around the parking garage to find the men who spoke to his fiancé that way. He found them. Then an argument happened, and Anthony and his fiancé, according to reports, were planning to leave the parking garage and likely go on with their day. But when leaving the garage, they were allegedly followed by Justin and Marco, plus whoever was driving.
That was dumb. That was dumb, bro. One, you as a man, you already know that niggas are going to try to holler at your girl. And then two, a lot of niggas can't take rejection. They're typical niggas. That's what they're gonna do. F you. I didn't want you. You this. You that. But you try to shoot. You try to shoot your shot though. But that's what dudes do. Him driving around the parking lot looking for them, bro. Nigga, if they didn't walk up on you and didn't do that, let it go. Like, all right, babe. If we see them again, I'm gonna check them then. But I'm not gonna go searching for these niggas for that. That's not smart.
According to reports, the suspects allegedly brake checked them. Anthony reportedly got out of the car. There was some more arguing, then bullets flew. Now, mind you, inside Anthony's car wasn't just his fiance, but the couple's baby too.
Come on, bro.
The rounds, according to reports, were one-sided, not from Anthony's side, but allegedly from Justin himself. Police say the content creator, plus whoever was driving them, took off in the black Chrysler 300, but Houston PD pulled over the car during a traffic stop and spoke to the driver. When Justin got out of the car, investigators say 2 fired shell casings fell onto his lap. But those weren't the only shell casings. Investigators found 14 fired shell casings still inside that car. The driver of the car they were in claims that Anthony was trying to fight them because he thought that they were trying to holler at his fiancée in the elevator. And just want to point out here, the driver wasn't charged, but Marco and Justin were. So how did that happen? Well, after all three men were briefly detained and questioned, they were free to go. But on June 25th, Marco was arrested and booked into jail. And after being named as a suspect, Justin turned himself into police 5 days later. Justin, who allegedly was the shooter, told police that he thought Anthony Sanders had a gun kept in his waistband when he approached the car. Justin also claimed Anthony had a knife. But investigators say no knives or firearms were found in the vicinity of or within Anthony's vehicle or in the area of the parking garage where the shooting took place. Both Justin and Marco.
That was an excuse, bro. That was just an excuse. Him feeling like, all right, he might try to fight you because you try to holler at his girl. That's no, that I can feel that. I can feel that. But I don't think that means let me pop him because I think he's gonna try to put hands on me. Like, nigga, it's either you walk away or you throw the hands. Like,
remain in jail. Marco's bond is set at $1 million, while Justin's bond is $450,000. But the defense is hoping to have his bond reduced because he cooperated with law enforcement. But for Anthony Sanders' family, things will never be the same. According to a GoFundMe, his loved ones write, Anthony Sanders was abruptly taken from us, leaving behind shattered hearts and unfinished dreams due to the senseless act of murder. Anthony was a devoted father, beloved fiancé to Selena, cherished son, nephew, cousin, and brother whose kindness warmed every heart around him. His greatest joy was his precious baby boy and his beautiful fiancée Selena, the family he passionately worked to support. In the wake of this profound loss, Anthony's grieving mother humbly invites anyone who wishes to support the family to donate, especially for Selena, whose care and well-being are now a priority. So was this really self-defense or is this a new defense strategy? Yeah. Let's get some insight from criminal defense.
That's a new defense strategy, bro. That was not self-defense. Self-defense means
with what we know so far, do you see self-defense
physical,
here? I mean, the suspects claim that Anthony Sanders came towards their car with what appeared to be a knife and a gun, but there was no knife found at the scene, no gun found. Plus, the victim had his child in the car. What are your thoughts about this case?
Well, I think it's going to be an uphill journey.
The child in the car part, they probably didn't even know about that. But for him, bro, if you got your wife and your kid, or your fiance and your kid, which, bro, I'm not finna go search around for no nigga, bro. I got two lives I gotta protect. I'm not finna go search around for nobody because the nigga's like, no. I can see if he did something physically, then all right. But words, I'm not gonna go searching for you when I have these two lives to protect. No. But this for sure wasn't self defense, bro. That was an excuse to use. That's just a line. I'm gonna say self defense, so therefore I am justified in knowing what I did, knowing I was doing something dumb. No.
Are you trying to prove self-defense if there was no gun found, there was no knife found, there was no weapon found? And that just may be something that may not have been found right now at the time. There could be more evidence that is displayed and comes to light as we continue to move forward in this particular case, especially before it goes to grand jury. So some evidence continues to pan out prior to it going to grand jury. But if it is, as the defendant does say, then he will have a strong self defense claim. The victim in this case walked to find him. They actually, I think the attorney in this case says that the victim walked 3 flights of stairs to find him and then followed behind him. So there's intent there. So he will have some type.
Yeah, like if this is a place where they have that stand ground law, he might win this. He might win because again, you're the issue was irrelevant. You came looking for the issue, and then sadly, this situation happened, or little things happen in between it, but you weren't looking for them. You could have left and went the other way, especially if y'all are leaving and you see that they're in front of you, and then they brake check you, whatever, or you brake check them, whatever. You could have still went another way.
Self defense conversation at least, and it'll just be up to a grand jury to decide if there was a probable cause for a charge in the first place, and then an actual jury to decide if there was reasonable doubt.
And the alleged shooter, that being Justin Guzman, according to investigators, they found 14 shell casings in the car, and some of them were even
He
falling
got
off of his
off.
lap once he got out of the car when he was initially detained. But in your opinion, given that the defense is now claiming self-defense, and I'm always thinking, why fire off more than a dozen rounds if this was truly self-defense, and I hate to say it this way, but like you would think maybe one or two, but not 14. It seems very intentional by that point.
Yeah, unless maybe he's missing, right? So I think that's if he's shooting and then not missing, and if the alleged victim or the victim is continuing to come at him, and then he's shooting at the person, then he's shooting in order to stop him from coming towards him. And
Yeah.
so again, I think that's something that will come out in.
Yeah, and I learned from law enforcement, like a police officer, that when they come to, we always see videos and we always feel like he could have just shot once, twice, hit him in the leg, hit him in the arm. One, it's not that easy. That it's not that easy just to hit, a small body part. Two, they're doing it with the intent of, like she just said, to stop you. That's why they get off so many times. Even though for me, I still feel like it don't be needing, like it could be a line of officers. Everybody ain't got to shoot, bro. It's seven of y'all. All seven of y'all did not have to get off. It could take one, two, but all seven of y'all did not have to do it. Especially all seven emptying all the whole clip. Like that's crazy.
Specific evidence of a trial, if it does move forward to a trial, okay, well, he shot more than 2 times because he missed. Then after that, he shot more than 5 times because he missed. And so it just depends on what that evidence continues to bring. To your point, though, if a person is shooting someone more than 10 times and they don't
Overkill.
miss, then it does give rise to, well, this doesn't necessarily feel like self defense anymore. This does feel very intentional.
Yeah. And reports are saying that this kind of started over the content creators, because there was three of them in that car, that they were in the elevator with the victim's fiance. They called her a stupid, ugly B word after she didn't answer one of their questions. And, I understand that Anthony did confront them, given that, most men might possibly do that in defense of their loved one. But even it seems like afterwards, the suspects kind of wanted a reaction. According to some of those reports that we were talking about earlier, they were brake checking Anthony and his fiance. Anthony gets out of the vehicle, and there's more arguing that happens, and the shots are fired from the content creator car, I should say.
because yeah, they see it's three of us. It's one of you. You got your family with you, bro. Like they was antagonizing you because they wanted to see what you was going to do, and they knew that they had Toolies on them. It's three of them. They got a Toolie. It's one of you. That's why they was doing that. That's why this. And again, this not self defense because again, all right, if Anthony the dude came looking for them, he checked them. They walked off. They went their separate ways. And then now we're all leaving. Instead of just driving on and or just letting me just drive, you're brake checking me because you're in front of me. You're antagonizing the situation even more. Nah, ain't no self defense, bro. Self defense is you wanted no issue at all.
But what's your reaction to kind of the suspect's roles of antagonizing or what seems to be antagonizing the victim's fiance first in a way?
Yeah, I think that that is something that one is completely out of line, right? If someone doesn't want to speak to you, they don't have to. No one is
Right.
required to speak to you in any way, shape, or form, and they don't deserve to be called names because they decided not to speak to you. So that's first. But next, after that, the fiance decides to get out of his vehicle, go and find these individuals. So you took time out of your day to go and physically try to
See,
find these people.
that was
And
wrong.
so
You
I
shouldn't
don't
have
know
did
how long
that.
that lasted in the search to try to find these
That's again like prime example of you don't know people's mindset or what they got on them. That's why I say that was a dumb move because you don't know these people, bro. You don't know. Look, then look what happened. You didn't get a chance to even find out. It's too late now.
individuals, but that could have been avoided as well. So, in my opinion as a lawyer, I would not have advised the client to go out and try to seek to try to find a argument with someone because that could
No,
quickly escalate. You have no idea if those people have guns, if they have weapons. You have no idea what that could escalate to.
come
And
on, bro.
so that
I
starting
ain't even a
point
lawyer. I'm
only
saying the same things
escalated
you
that
said.
at that point. If the alleged victim went to find them, that's going to escalate it. And then after that, I would say that the suspects finding or antagonizing, I would say, the alleged victim now at this point, it just continues to escalate. Every step just escalates it more, 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 more. And so that's going to be a journey for the defense counsel and their proving of self defense.
I don't know. Like depend on how many shells connected. They might either get no charge or manslaughter.
They're going to have to try to combat those things. But again, as more evidence
Cause
comes
he
out, they'll
came
be able
looking
to use that.
for the issue.
And are you surprised even by the brazenness of this crime? This was the Galleria Mall. I mean, it's a popular mall. A lot of people go there. A bystander could have been hit. Somebody who had no part in this kind of altercation, this verbal altercation by that point. But still, just the fact that this happened in public, what are your thoughts overall just about this happening at the Galleria Mall?
Yeah, happening at the Galleria Mall or just in broad daylight, right? This is a matter that's happening in the middle of the day at a public place where several people go with their families on a day to day basis. There have been several reports of different assaults and matters of that nature happening at the Galleria Mall, though, in different
It's always at the
parts
mall,
of the
bro.
parking
Every
areas and
mall,
the
every
parking lots.
city, every
So it
state.
is something that I wouldn't say I'm completely surprised at something happening, but I am surprised at a shooting happening, right? In such a popular area where people are there with their families, even the victim in this case being there with his fiance and child.
And just picking her up from work. That's all that he was there to do. And then obviously he was told what had happened. And then he I think was trying to do the right thing, right? But in terms of just he Anthony Sanders was just starting his day like normal.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, buddy. But ladies. Not saying it's her fault and nothing like that. Not saying that shit. But ladies, as long as the nigga didn't touch you, kid, just keep pushing. If he said F you, you know for a fact it's either he wanted your attention or he wanted you. You didn't get so just let it go. No matter what he said, just let it go. Because again, not blaming her, but this can happen. You call your boyfriend, your brother, your homie, your whatever. Oh, this person said this to me, and then they come because they know that they gonna ride for you. And then boom, they come, they come and just check somebody, and then boom, they get. Come on, bro. Like some ladies, if the nigga ain't touch you, let it go.
Seemed like until this happened. What are your thoughts on just the fact that he was there just to pick up his fiance from her job, and their child again was in the car when this happened? So it didn't seem like, you would think from their perspective that there might have been intent to really escalate this type of situation. Maybe it was just like a, hey, don't speak to my fiance, that type of way kind of, interaction. But
He
it
said
seemed
way
like it
more
just
than that.
escalated from there, where now guns were drawn, obviously from Justin Guzman and his, TikTok friend's car. But what are your thoughts on just Anthony Sanders was just there to pick up his fiance?
Yeah, and I think that's really heartbreaking, right? Someone they go to just pick up their fiance from work and they have only intentions. They leave their home, they're going to pick up their fiance, loved one from work, and their goal is to pick them up, bring them back home safely. Have no idea that anything like this would ever happen. My heart really goes out to the fiance as well because she's probably feeling like she's in the middle of this, all these things. And so
God,
what I would
she
say
more like
is
blaming
that the
herself because like
person
she
that
feel like
is
she
going
probably shouldn't
through
say
that,
nothing.
my heart just really goes out to him and to the family of Mr. Sanders.
Going back to the self-defense claim, do you think, because Justin Guzman was able to meet with investigators 2 weeks after the shooting, because he was detained originally, then he was released, then he turned himself in about a few weeks later, but do you think that he had enough time to kind of craft a story that he believed that Anthony had a knife and a gun? Because why
Yeah,
not just
who
stay
wouldn't
stay
say
on the
that?
scene? They all fled after this happened. Why not just stay in?
Anybody who pops at somebody is going to say it was self defense, whether it was fighting or whether it was somebody that they did something to. Everybody's going to say that. That's the main. It's rare that you see somebody go into a course type of situation and it's like I'm guilty. That's a rare situation. Most of the time, it's either I'm not guilty, it was self defense. This not nothing rare.
Reported if this was truly a self-defense case.
Yeah, I think it's easy for us to say why not do this or why not do that. But when we're not in the moment, it can be really difficult because there is a lot of adrenaline going. There can be just a lot of just being afraid as well. You don't know what's going on. And a lot of times, attorneys advise you not to speak with the police without an attorney being present, right? That is normally the advice. So if he decided, okay, well, maybe I should stay and or leave and go speak with an attorney first, then that is something that he has his absolute right to do. So he
Facts.
has the opportunity to talk with his attorney first to make sure that he's protecting himself prior to going to speak with officers. So I would say that it's easy for us to say, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that right away with officers? But when we're not in that position, it is. I think it's a lot more difficult to go immediately to the police and say, again, it's adrenaline going. This man was following behind me in the mall, and then I decided to follow behind him. I thought he had a gun. I thought he had a knife. Different things. I think it can just sometimes be a little more difficult than that.
Yeah,
Nah.
it makes sense. I mean, we're not in their position, we're not in their shoes, so who knows what we would do in their shoes or anything
I
like that.
wouldn't have
And
been
then
break checking
Justin
that nigga.
Guzman's
If we
attorney
just
was
got
trying
into
to
it,
have his
bro, I'm
bond
not gonna
reduced
be
from four
break
hundred
checking you,
fifty
bro. I'm finna get
thousand
up out of here,
dollars to
dog.
just $50,000. Do you think that a judge will actually go for that?
I don't know if the judge will agree to go all the way down to 50,000. Judges normally try to meet the defense counsel and prosecutors somewhere in the middle where both parties can find common ground. So if his bond is at 450,000, defense counsel is asking for 50,000. It is not unheard of for a judge to reduce it down to half of that, right? And maybe have some requirements that may be conditions of bond. Maybe he has to have an ankle monitor where we're tracking him now, making sure that he's not going to the Galleria or making sure he's not going anywhere near the victim's family. Just making sure that he is being tracked. So that wouldn't be unheard of either. So I could see a court reducing it down maybe to half of that with some additional bond conditions.
And I'm interested, Bridget, in knowing your opinion on the fact that when Justin Guzman was initially arrested, I think we were kind of talking in house just about how many followers he initially had around the time of his arrest when he had, or I should.
I don't care about that.
Well,
Yeah, and especially since his content was kind of, I guess, funny-ish videos, and then he's accused of murder. I think a lot of people are always interested in how that switch-up kind of happens, too. And Bridget, I'm curious, what do you think will happen in this case next? Do you think it'll end in some type of plea deal, a plea offer of some type of sorts, or do you think that the defendants will take the risk and go to trial?
Well, based on the evidence that we have right now, I could see it
If you ain't
moving
got money
forward
for
to a
bond,
trial
you ain't got
setting
money for a
with a
lawyer
self
though.
defense claim, because the matter is that he's saying that there's self defense, but there's no gun or weapon found. Then no prosecutor is going to move forward and say, yes, this was a self defense matter. And so, unless additional information is
Nah, cause it's been plenty of times where officers do the same thing. They thought the person had something, they got off, the person didn't have nothing, and then a good enough lawyer will get them either will still use the thing that he was still in fear because he thought this person was going to do something to them. Then they gonna try to. I hope they don't try to use the because if he's a veteran, because they keep showing a photo of if he went to war, they don't know the a person of like a soldier is basically a lethal weapon themselves. So I hope they don't try to use that shit because that'd be crazy.
moved and brought forward, I could see this definitely being a trial case.
And do you see it's possible that co-defendant might turn on co-defendant and say, yeah, it was all him, he did this on purpose, and to try to negate, the other person's responsibilities? Do you see that possibly happening?
The thing is that you just never know what can come out with co-defendants. The prosecution can make different offers to each person. They don't have to make the same offer to each person, and it depends on also what the charges are. One person is charged with murder, the other person is charged with murder too. I think it just depends,
They don't
right?
have the
The
same charge.
prosecution can make an offer to this person. Well, if you tell us this information, then we can reduce your sentencing, or we can reduce this down. So it just really just depends on what the prosecution does and who the other person's defense counsel is, if they can all come to some type of agreement.
And I guess we'll see when that happens, if that happens, and I guess what happens next in this case. Bridget Williams, I want to thank you so.
That shit like on the spot. That's crazy, though. Like people, it's never. A lot of things just don't be that deep, bro. There's a lot of things that more that niggas need to pay attention to. And when I keep saying niggas, I ain't talking about black people. I'm talking about humans in general, bro. Like even this, like news reaction. So like, bro, nigga, bro, them robots, bro. Niggas better. I'm telling you, humans need to pay attention, bro, because they gonna eliminate the working class. They're gonna eliminate that. It's gonna be over. I'm happy. I'm getting older, bro. I'm happy. I'm hoping by the time I'm old and walking like this, that's when they start. Then it don't matter. But if it happen now, I'm gonna be heated.